Okay, so I'm Grasswalker. Hello and welcome to the Dota2 Bot Masters Spinning Roulette. This is how we're going to decide which teams go into which groups for the group stage. Let's throw it in with the first spin. We're deciding Group A first. The first 4 spins will go into Group A. Here we go. Oh boy, it's spinning. Slowing down. Looks like it's going to be Pub Support Simulator unless it just barely scrapes to Edge AI. It has! So let's bring up our sets of teams and we will put Edge AI, favorite to win the entire tournament, into Group A. Dismiss the groups. Close Edge AI, who is now removed from the board. And our second spin will be the second team in Group A. This spinning wheel was brought to you by spinnerwheel.com. It actually does a really genuinely good job of making spinning wheels. There's a lot of customization available. Looks like we've got Pub Simulator 7.19 less. Again, Valve default medium has jumped in. We'll bring up our groups of teams. We'll find Valve default medium bots into Group A. I think Edge AI fans will be very pleased with that. Valve default medium is one of the weakest teams in the entire tournament, but you might find that Group A, if they're not challenging themselves, might get complacent and find themselves struggling. They'll get through the group stage, don't get me wrong, but let's see who else is in there. Ooh, a worthy challenger. A beginner AI will join Edge AI and Valve default medium bots Group A. A beginner AI joining them in Group A. The final team in Group A will be decided on this spin. See who it is. All of the orange team still in at the minute. It looks like it's gonna be army bots. We've been fooled by this before. The slow spin towards the end. We saw it coming this time. It is army bots that finishes out Group A. So let's go have a look at Group A. Second monitor there, grab it. And we can have a look at the final teams in Group A. We have army bots, a beginner AI, Edge AI, and Valve default medium bots. If you are a betting man, do not put any money on Valve default medium bots in this group because they are most likely the weakest team in this group and they are most likely to be going home. However, everybody loves a good underdog story. And I can see potentially a way that default medium bots can force their way through Group A into the playoff stage. That brings us back to the groups, and now we will be spinning Group B. Put that back over there. Spin for Group B. What have we got left in? We've taken one of each color, it looks like. So the roulette wheel perfectly balanced in all things. The first spin for Group B. Like it's going to be Ultimate AI. Ooh, unless it is. Ultimate AI takes the place. Group. Go back to our set of groups here. Ultimate AI into Group B. Send them away. We'll do our next spin. Second team in Group B. They'll be facing off against Ultimate AI and 2 teams that are to be determined. Looks like it's going to be Extreme Push. Yes, Extreme Push it is. Bring them into Group B. Extreme Push into Group B. That's looking to be an interesting group so far. But who will be joining them? Spinner slows. It looks like it's going to be Furious Puppy Bot. Wow. They're going to be very pleased with that group drawing. Furious Puppies Bot Experiment joining Group B. Love the logo that I made for them. The final team for Group B. It looks like a relatively competitive field in Group B so far. I would say that Furious Puppy's looking to be the favorite of that group, but you never know who might be joining them. It's looking to be either Cancer AI or OpenAI skill shots. Ooh! By 1 pixel! By a single pixel, it is Cancer AI. Puts Group B as a very competitive, dangerous group to be in. Open them up, zoom in so we get the logos. We've got Cancer AI, Extreme Push, Furious Puppy, and Ultimate AI. These are some competitive teams. This is going to be definitely a battle for who is going to be first in this group to get that top dog upper bracket spot moving into the playoffs. I'm excited for Group B, and I hope that you are as well. Group C we'll be spinning for now, and then we will spin for Group D, but at that point the spins will not matter because the 4 remaining teams will go into Group D, but we may as well spin the wheel for them. We're now spinning for Group C. See who is going to end up playing off against each other in the 3rd of the 4 groups. Looks like it's going to be Crisbots. The wheel slowed down so much, it is. Crisbots deprecated. Going to be the first group, the first team in Group C, sorry. Grab their logo, put them into Group C. Close this off. Second spin. Who will be joining Crisbot? Crisbots is one of the weaker teams in the tournament, so I think any team will be happy to be joining them in a group. And Pub Simulator for 7.19 is going to be joining them in Group C. So it looks to be that Group C has some of the weaker teams in it already. Pub Simulator 7.19 into Group C. That's definitely 2 of the weaker teams have got into Group C so far. For example, if another 2 weak teams end up in Group C, that could almost be the wildcard group, where somebody that people do not expect to get far in this tournament slip through as the winner of Group C, straight into the upper bracket, go on a run, and we might see a weak team in the finals or the semi-finals, giving them a chance. Let's see who's going to join them in Group C. Who else? Valve Default Unfair Bots is not a strong favourite for the tournament, but it's definitely not a weak team. They're going to be very happy with that draw. Put them in. Valve Default Unfair Bots into Group C. The final team moving into Group C, meaning that OpenAI Skillshot, Hub Support Simulator, Ranked Matchmaking, Serious, and Valve Default Hard. 4 of these 5 teams will be playing together in Group D. We're going to see which one is jumping into what I regretfully will say right now is the easy group, Group C. One of these teams is going to get a fast track ticket to the upper bracket if they jump into Group C right. See who it is. We have 2 oranges left on the wheel, which implies, statistically, it is more likely to be orange than not. However, the wheel is slowing between OpenAI, Valve Default Hard, but the wheel just doesn't have enough momentum left in it. OpenAI Skillshots claims the prize, which is easy entry into the easiest of the 4 groups that we've seen, which leaves the 4 teams as Pub Support Simulator, Ranked Matchmaking, Serious AI, and Valve Default Hard Bots into Group D. We're going to spin the wheel, but these 4 teams cannot end up anywhere else. We're just going to see who's the most eager to jump into Group D, and it looks like it's going to be Default Hard Bot. And it is. The crowd's cheering, but there's nothing to cheer about. Shut up, crowd. Valve Default Hardbot. The final spin will be the funniest because the entire wheel will just be a single team. Looks like it's going to be either Pub Support Simulator or Ranked Matchmaking. It depends. It's pushed its way into Ranked Matchmaking. I think that they're, again, not going to be displeased by this group, but it could have been a better group for them. 50-50, let's see who is the slowest team on the grid, the person most resistant to the spinner, and it looks like the team that's been chosen is Serious AI, And our resistant team is the Pub Support Simulator, fitting in at the end with a flex pick, jumping into Group D. Move them in there, and the worst spin of the entire wheel, the most exciting spin for someone who likes a lot of certainty and control in their life. It is sure enough, it is Pub Support Simulator. Has been the final selection of this week. There's no one else left on the wheel, but apparently, no, I can't spin it anymore. I was curious if I could. We'll put Pub Support Simulator into Group D, open it up, have a look. Now this, if you ask me, is one of the killer groups. It's got one of the favourites to win the whole tournament, Serious AI. It's got the default hard bots, not the default unfair bots, so it's not as bad as it could have been. The hard bots are a challenging ask for some teams, but I think that they will go down. Ranked matchmaking and then Pub Support Simulator. This is a feisty group, but I don't think it's the hardest group. So, to conclude, the 4 groups we have are Group A, Group B, Group C, and Group D. Inside of those groups, Group A contains Army bots, a beginner AI, Edge AI, and Valve default medium bots. If you look into me, my hunch is that Valve default medium bots are going to get knocked out of this tournament very quickly, and they will be the loser of Group A. Group B, we're looking at Cancer AI, Extreme Push, Furious Puppy, and Ultimate AI. I believe this is the most competitive group of 4 groups. I think whoever's going to go home here is going to be very upset, because these are some top teams, these are some challenging teams. None of them are the best team, but all of them are up there and all of them can be competitive with each other. I think this is going to be the group to watch. Group B is a must-see activity. Group C contains Crisbots, the deprecated bots from 2020. It's got OpenAI Skill Shots, which is a decent team. It's got Pub Simulator from 7.19. That is old. And it has the Valve default unfair bots, which, don't get me wrong, are not a weak team. They are the strongest of the 3 Valve teams that have been contributed here, between the medium, the hard, and the unfair bots. Unfair bots are the strongest, but Group C looks like a wash. If OpenAI Skill Shots does not top this group with 3 wins, they're going to be kicking themselves, because Crisbots and Pub Simulator are old, and the Valve default unfair bots, whilst they are challenging to some teams, they should be below OpenAI's level. Brings us finally to Group D, where we have Pub Support Simulator, Ranked Matchmaking, Serious, and Valve's default hard bots. This group has 3 relatively equally matched competitive teams in Pub Support Simulator, Ranked Matchmaking, and Valve default hard. These teams will be battling it out to avoid elimination, whilst I think that Serious, being a strong favourite, should run away with this group with a comfortable 3-0 of the group stage. It's just, can the other 3 teams put up some competition and decide who goes home? With that, the 4 groups are decided. Now all that's left is for each team in each group to play each team in that group once. Once these 6 games have been played and each team has a record, we will move on to the playoff stage. Thank you for joining me on the Dota2 Botmasters 2022 Group Spin Wheel. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.